We are back. It is the second segment and final segment of INFOWARS Nightly News. If you're not a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber and you're watching this somewhere elsewhere, please spread the word about the show and alternative media, and please become a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber if you resonate with this out-of-the-box, true freedom message. Okay, I'm going to move fast now, because I got to get to Webster Tarpley. Geoengineering goes under the microscope in Australia, in one of their major states. And more of their scientists are pointing out there are secretive and now public geoengineering programs going on that governments claim are to protect us from this and that. But the whole thing is super creepy. So we're going to be looking at that. It's also come out that Diebold, and we'll go to that slide here in a moment, Diebold voting machines can be hacked by remote control. This has been proven for a decade, but now they're being hacked with $10 pieces of equipment. And again, that's about all of us more and more losing our rights, but not being able to admit that we're being defrauded. But then it gets worse. First they said it was a joke, but now it's been confirmed that it was not a joke. She seriously told the media, the North Carolina governor suggested suspending elections to spur economic solutions. She said because people will be removed from office if they do things that aren't popular, suspend elections. That's what Governor Bev Perdue, a Democrat, said. And now they've already suspended the Congress, the General House, controlling spending bills. That's now done by a committee of 12 tyrants. So just an incredible, incredible time to be alive. Finally, I want to play a clip of our good friend Judge Andrew Napolitano. He had the district attorney on, the prosecutor in Orange County, California. You know, that's nearby where that homeless guy who did nothing got beaten to death by the cops. And the cops covered it up at first, but finally they've done the right thing, and they've charged one cop with premeditated murder, the other with manslaughter. And the district attorney pointed out, if cops in the wrong are beating you to death, you have a right to defend yourself with lethal force. That's common sense, that's common law, and that's what 1776 is all about.
What can an ordinary person do to resist unlawful violence when the violence is perpetrated by the police?
Well, you know, to begin with, we do have a United States constitutional right to be free from unlawful or unwarranted excessive force under color of law. So that part doesn't vary from state to state. And I think that citizens, or everybody, not just citizens, but we all have a right to self-defense.
Wow. I mean, I shouldn't say wow, but more and more people are just speaking the obvious, speaking the truth. We all got a right to defend ourselves. And it was on record, this homeless guy who's schizophrenic, his dad, by the way, was a retired cop, was just like, hey, man, and they just beat him to death. Reportedly were like doing knee drops into his head for like 20 minutes. I mean, what is, they're hiring a bunch of weenies who like to gang up 5 at a time on people. That's what it is. I mean, no respecting, self-respecting man wants to beat up people that didn't start a fight with you. I mean, it's almost shameful when a bully starts a fight and you break their jaw. Not that I've done that myself, but I've read about it. I mean, it is just so pathetic. And that's good. I hope they stick a needle on that cop's arm, and I hope they send him to hell. Because beating some guy to death who was begging for his mommy and his daddy, all on tape, doing nothing. I mean, there's nothing more cowardly than cops doing knee drops over and over. I'm killing a homeless person. I'm tough. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, you know what? You're going to get strapped down to a gurney because murder one is on your ass, premeditated murder, and you're going to see how it is. Okay, because we don't like weak people being targeted by the strong, by a bunch of wolves. And society is starting to wake up. Now, good cops, we support you. And if you defend yourself, that's great. We'll protect you under common law. But when you like to beat up and kill homeless people or shoot a black kid in handcuffs in the back and say that he was attacking you and that comes out, you don't deserve a year or 2 in jail like the San Francisco case. You deserve to go to prison. Or you deserve an eye for an eye, the killing you engaged in. All right, I'm out of time. I'm going to Tarpley here. Ahmadinejad. I have this new Freudian thing where I can't get it. It's Dinajad, yeah. How's Dinajad? Whatever, I'm having, 5 years ago I didn't know how to pronounce his name. I did perfectly, and now I'm having problems. But Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda has now come out ridiculously and said, shut up, we did 9/11, be quiet. With more on Al-Qaeda chastising the government of Iran for pointing out the obvious, the controlled demolition of Tower 1, 2, and 7. Webster Griffin Tarpley, doctor of course, history, and he's also an economist, joins us to break this down, and then the situation in Wall Street with the occupation there, the world financial crisis deepening, the latest in Libya, and, of course, new saber-rattling with Iran. Dr. Tarpley, great to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Well, let's get into what I was just covering. Ahmadinejad comes out and says, well, you know what he said. He said, I'm an engineer, and it looks like those are controlled demolition. And then Al-Qaeda comes out and says, no, we did it, with no proof of who even puts out this Aspire magazine.
I guess politics makes strange bedfellows. The speech by Ahmadinejad last week at the United Nations, I think, was probably the best of the entire session, because he went through a whole part on the immiseration of the world, the poverty levels, the tremendous wealth disparities, wealth inequalities, how this is actually getting worse and not better. He talked about the dysfunctionality of the international institutions, how the United Nations doesn't work. It's dominated by a clique of rich imperialist countries at the cost of everybody else. And then also in the speech at the United Nations, he said, there's basically a climate of neo-McCarthyism in the Western world, where if you bring up objections to the official story of 9/11, you're going to be threatened and intimidated. And he said the Iranian government had been threatened and intimidated when a year or two ago he brought up the question of having an international commission on 9/11, which would be a great idea, and he should go ahead and do it and don't mind the intimidation. So this is now continuation. The Al-Qaeda, I guess they're going to take the Arlen Specter Award for the most imaginative defense of the official version so far, which is to say we're Al-Qaeda and that's not how we did it. This is absolutely ridiculous. We just have to remember what we've learned in Libya is that Al-Qaeda is the CIA Arab Legion. It always has been, it always will be, and that's who's telling you these things. So that's the CIA speaking through Al-Qaeda saying, no, it was not controlled demolition, it was the official story.
Well, Webster, routinely, you'll see an AP headline as if it's fact. Al-Qaeda says you better pass carbon taxes. They actually said that last year, or we're going to attack you. So now even Al-Qaeda supports Al Gore and this new bankster tax. I mean, just cartoonish, comic book. And it just continues on from there. But then you'll read in the bottom of the AP articles, it'll say this was posted on a message board and was unconfirmed. It should say unconfirmed message board, Al-Qaeda says pay Al Gore money, or unconfirmed message board, or Inspire magazine, which I know has Western intelligence links. You've got Anwar al-Awlaki hanging out secretly at the Pentagon. You've got Adam Gadon, you know, hooked up with the ADL, coming out with all these videos. I mean, this is ridiculous. But as you said, I was going to go to Libya last. But now let's go to it first because you raise it. Now they're confirming, ABC News is, thousands of heat-seeking shoulder-launched missiles have fallen into Al-Qaeda's hands in Libya. So U.S. forces have to go in. And of course, Gaddafi's still fighting on. We should point out recently you were actually in Libya. And I mean, this is so predictable. First, they use Al-Qaeda to start the attempted overthrow. They call them freedom fighters who are nonviolent. Then they put Al-Qaeda in command of the cities they've got. The Gaddafi forces, the anti-Al-Qaeda forces fight on. And now they're saying we've got to invade to get military force to knock out Gaddafi because Al-Qaeda might get missiles. I mean, they're just counting on the American people not having any grasp of anything that's happening.
Today we had the amazing spectacle of an Al-Qaeda spokesman from the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. This is the infamous Belhaj, alias Hassadi, alias Hasidi, and a butcher who has left a trail of blood and corpses across the world, from Southeast Asia to the Indian subcontinent to the Middle East and many other places. So now this Belhaj, an Al-Qaeda butcher and killer who's got the blood of American troops on his hands, not only did he kill them himself, but he sent fighters into Afghanistan and Iraq to kill the GIs and also other NATO forces.
And he brags about it. This is undisputed.
Not only does he brag, but he wants to be a victim. See, in the modern politically correct world, you've got to be a victim. So he's also a victim because he was tortured by the CIA after they caught him. His right-hand man is Gumu. That's bin Laden's chauffeur, who spent 6 years in Guantanamo Bay concentration camp. So this is a guy who is now interviewed as a responsible spokesman for the Libyan revolution in the pages of the London Guardian. So,
and by the way, you were the first person I heard like 8 years ago when they first opened up Guantanamo saying that it was really a sheep dipping operation where people supposedly disappeared into it to give them street cred with, you know, Muslim fighters or whatever, jihadis, but really they'd already been sent off to other areas to be trained. Now that's admitted. That really, it's just a cutout, that the real black sites and ghost sites are in other parts of the world with the real tortures going on. I mean, how transparent does this get? And now we've got to, A, give up our rights because the thousands of missiles are in the jihadis' hands, and B, they're saying drones are being deployed to Libya to fight al-Qaeda all over Africa. African now comes in, exactly what you said, word for word. In the Obama deception, now almost 3 years ago, we even show graphics as you speak of U.S. troops in NATO invading Libya.
Well, Gaddafi is in the field and fighting. He's full of defiance. He makes statements through Syria. There's a television station in Syria that broadcasts these statements. Musa Ibrahim, the information minister, is in the field and fighting. Saeed al-Islam is in the field and fighting. And the other son, Kamis, is there. Daughter Aisha is making statements from, I guess, from Algeria, where she has taken refuge. So the Gaddafi command structure is pretty much intact. The rebels are militarily impotent. You can see that these people, they're good at butchering women and children, but they're no good at going up against Gaddafi's veterans.
Now, wait a minute. They're not, listen, they are good at butchering blacks. You were also one of the first to say, because you traveled over there, that they were 6 months ago exterminating blacks in the East when they took control. But isn't that a politically correct sacrament that they're exterminating blacks on sight?
Well, they are, but right now they're trying to take the city of Sirte. They've failed. This has been going on now for about a month. Remember, the big NATO attack on Tripoli was the 22nd of August, and now it's almost October. They can't take Sirte. They can't take Bani Walid. They can't take Saba down in the desert. And then there's this whole area of Fezzan and the south and related parts of Libya where the rebels basically have no political control whatsoever. So this is shaping up as a civil war. The bottom line lesson, though, is, strangely enough, if you're from al-Qaeda and you're in Pakistan, then the U.S. wants to kill you. They want to blow up your wedding party with a Predator drone. But if you're al-Qaeda in Libya, then you're going to get billions of dollars from the State Department, all the seized assets, the most modern weapons. Hillary Clinton is going to come and coquette with you, and God knows what else. And
it comes out that Tony Blair is in 6 secret meetings in the last few years with Gaddafi doing business deals. Obviously, this is also